Bridging generation gaps, racial gaps, socioeconomic gaps. Bridging, a national television talk show designed to bridge gaps. Let's start a conversation about critical issues confronting today's society. And now, here's your host with another episode of Bridging.
Welcome to Bridging. I'm Dr. Mel, and I am your talk show host. As you notice quickly, I am not in the studio today. I am in my home, as many of you are at your homes watching this. We have been quarantined for quite some time due to the coronavirus, and we are practicing social distancing responsibly. So we bring the show from our home to yours today. Bridging is about starting conversations that transcend race, religion, genders, socioeconomic gaps, and even generations. So on today's show, although we are experiencing inconveniences, not being able to socialize in person, schools being shut down, concerts and social events being canceled, it's even gotten to the point where we cannot have church. We have to watch it online. Thank God for the ability for the internet that keeps us together, that bridges that gap that we're always talking about. So we appreciate the inventors of internet because we would not be able to do this otherwise. So that is a blessing in itself. But life as we know it has changed. Okay, so today, you guys, on Bridging, I have two special guests, Laura Beth, and I have Kim Joyner with me. Kim is an educator, so I wanted to talk to her about, making this transition with being an educator and then being mom educator at home, because I myself have, been in this situation, but a lot of our parents have been thrown into this homeschooling situation. Some parents never, ever wanted to homeschool at all, and that's fine. But now we're forced to. So, Kim, if you could just tell us who you are, what you do, and how this has been affecting you as an educator.
Okay, I'm Kim Joyner. I'm a fourth grade teacher in Tennessee. I'm also a mom to a 17-year-old senior and a 4-year-old. So the homeschooling aspect is quite different. With the 4-year-old, it hasn't been difficult at all. I also taught kindergarten and first grade for 16 years. So to transition her into homeschooling has been easy. It's been very fluid, and she really enjoys learning. But for my 17-year-old, it's been quite difficult. First of all, he has several online classes anyway. So he has the expectations for his online classes haven't stopped. He's in dual.
That's good.
Has many dual classes. So he has 2 of those already kind of taken place. I mean, I kind of just have to keep him on task to make sure he's checking his email and things like that. But he is in a college calculus class, and I can't help him with that at all.
Wow. Okay, so even having a senior, I've heard from seniors who feel like they have been robbed of their senior year. Has your son said anything like that or alluded to anything like feeling robbed of his senior year?
Now, my son is very introverted.
Okay.
So he is in heaven. So I am very upset for him because I want him to experience and, just go through things like prom, graduation, the last day of school, senior skip day, all of those fun things that I remember from my senior year. But I've had to kind of take a step back because he's not geared that way and he's happy at home.
Right. So last year was my daughter's senior year, but this is her first year in college. And she said that, and the dorms, they're closed. So they send the students home. She said she feels robbed of her first year in college.
Right.
So I was wondering how that felt. As an educator and parent, what's been the biggest transition that you had to make?
I guess just establishing a routine at home. because it is very difficult. So every morning I get up at 5:30 and have my quiet time just like I normally would. My daughter is an early riser anyway, so I get her dressed and fix her hair. Lots of my friends have seen pictures that I posted on social media, and they're like, I can't believe she's dressed and not in pajamas all day. But if we don't get up and establish routine, I can't get anything done.
I was going to ask, what would be your suggestion for parents as they move along in this transition? But you pretty much answered it. Get up, get dressed, keep a routine.
Right.
Because normally your routine when they're going to school,
right,
their school routine and their home routine has been completely different because
right,
you're doing different things at different times. But now that you're home all day,
right,
separate those two, and you said it very well. Make sure you get up, get dressed, have a routine. You're still doing time, having time for yourself as well.
Yes.
Laura Beth, so you're home and you've been at home though, right?
Yes.
Work from home. How has working from home, because I've heard from parents too with that, how has working from home been a challenge, even with now having to stay at home? I know that sounds strange, but there is a challenge in that. And if you could speak to that, that would be great.
Yes. Well, I have 4 children. I have an 18-year-old, a 14-year-old, an 11-year-old, and an 8-year-old. And the 14-year-old and the 18-year-old, they're in their room doing their thing. But the other 2 are like, Mama, I need to do this. Mama, I want to do this. Hold on, I'm in the middle of something. Give me a minute. And they're like, but Mama, and I'm like, I don't know what to do right now. So sometimes I have to set my work down and help them with what they're working on, because I've never been a teacher before. And I'm like, hold on, I need to Google this because I have no clue.
Like, don't think you have to figure this all out. And like with you have 4 kids at home.
Right.
Teacher normally has children between 2 ages. If you're teaching 5th grade, you have 10-year-olds and 11-year-olds. And you're teaching one topic, one kind of content, 5th grade content. You have all of these different age groups at home. How did you get a space together? How are you managing all this?
Very carefully. I have one on one side and one on the other. Like I said, the oldest 2, they're doing their thing. If they need help, they come to me or they reach out to their teachers themselves. But I have the 2nd grader on one side and the 6th grader on the other, and I help them the best I can.
Yeah. So tell me, you're married, right?
Yes, I'm married.
How does your husband fit into this?
He is actually still working. It's kind of difficult for me because everything going on with the coronavirus. I'm like, hold on, you got to wash your hands, you got to change your clothes, get out of those clothes. I can't let you in my house like this. He's looking at me like, really?
I don't think a lot of people realize at this point, maybe by the time it airs, things will be different. But I don't think a lot of people realize at this point, when you have a spouse who is essential and works outside the home, and then you're inside the home, there is a whole process of letting that spouse back in at the end of the day. My husband is a medical professional. He's a nurse. So, when he comes home, we stop him at the door. We isolate him. The children go into another part of the house. He gets totally undressed, puts his clothes in the washer, wraps up in something, and then he's able to come through the kitchen and go straight to the shower. That is a lot every single day. That's a lot every single day. I know it's a lot for me. I know it's a lot for the viewers, and I know it's a lot for you, Laura Beth, because we've talked about it. What suggestions do you have for, couples who one spouse or one partner is essential and the other one, we're all essential. Forget that. We're all As it came out my mouth, I'm like, what? Okay, one partner works outside the home and the other one is on the stay-at-home safe plan? What do you say to them?
Be patient, be understanding. Make sure you and your partner are on the same page, because you need to make sure they're not bringing anything in the house to you and your family.
Yeah. Have you found that it's a little frustrating, Kim? Are you dealing with this as well?
My husband's actually working from home, so that's been something different for us, because we're used to having some separate time from each other. So, and trying to keep a 4-year-old quiet so he can get his work done is difficult also. So, but he is working from home.
So there's another challenge, because
Yes.
when, okay, so I work from home as well. I work from home. So even to do this, I had to tell her hi.
Yeah.
This is real life.
Yeah. Real life.
So my son usually takes this space for his homeschooling, and then my office is over there. But I had to switch places with him. So he's actually downstairs in the living room. I'm here, and my daughter is in my room at my desk. So I understand, having to share all this space with someone who works from home, and now you're working from home. What can you say to someone who has to do this? What is the biggest suggestion or greatest suggestion that you have to make this work? How can we make this work?
I think number one, you just have to communicate. Every morning we just talk and say, okay, he needs to, be on a conference call from this time to this time. So I need to make sure that Grace is doing something outside or doing something quietly. He knows, I only need usually about 45 minutes for all of her lessons. Like I said, she's only 4 years old. So, under an hour, 30, 45 minutes max for me to get everything done with her. So he knows that, and we just try to communicate what time he needs peace and quiet and what time is okay for us to be in the house. So communication is key.
Communication and scheduling. I keep hearing
yes, routine.
Yes, because then you could say, yeah. Okay, so here's the last thing. I always want to end on a positive note. Even though all of this has challenged us and we're thrown into situations where we're uncomfortable, there are some positive things that have happened. So can you tell me, what are some positive things that have happened since this has gone on?
I think for our family, we have spent so much more time together. There's Grace.
Hello, Grace.
We have spent so much more time together. Every evening, just about, we're on the back patio, and like I said, this is my son's senior year, and we've had so much guitar time around the fire and just hanging out, and just holding these moments so close, because I know college is next year, and it's going to totally change for our family without my son here. So just so much more family quality time, and just appreciating each other so much more. Just knowing how hard all of us are working together, and just to make everything work. So.
Yeah, we're in this together. We definitely are all in this together. And I hear that across the board, that more family time.
Yes.
Do you find that to be true too, Larbeth?
Yes. We've been playing games, and instead of a 5-minute Bible lesson, we've been doing a 20 and 25-minute Bible lesson, doing yard work together, playing games outside. And we also go on little trips together. I don't know if everybody in the country has heard of the bear hunt, but we have went on the bear hunt as a family, and it's kind of exciting and fun. There's one, look. And what number are we on? I lost count.
Tell us, what's the bear hunt?
There are people around the whole county where we live that have put a bear in their window for our children to go around and find, to get them out of the house for a little while. They're still isolated in their vehicles, but they get to say, oh, well, there's a bear, or there's a Pikachu, or there's a monkey, or whatever as the case may be. They're not just bears. There are all stuffed animals. And it's actually really fun.
Yeah, I have heard of that. I saw it on Facebook. There was a community where they have a walking trail, but the houses are around the walking trail. So they would put up different stuffed animals each day, you know, for the children to come by and see. So that is awesome. And I want to add that, yes, we have had more family time. I love it. I'm also an introvert. So I'm relishing in this moment. But it's so nice to be able to, like, you know, be an introvert and do this from home.
Yes.
I love being with my family, and I also love talking to people. And there are some positive things that are coming from, you know, being safer at home. And I just want to thank you today for coming. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And if you have one thing that you want to leave with our viewers, what would that be? Kim.
Just enjoy your time with each other. You know, I think all things are purposed by God. And I think that, you know, in our country, we've kind of gotten away from spending time with each other. And God has purposed this time for us to just be with each other and appreciate each other. So, so just take this time and love your babies and love your families and just enjoy them.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you so much, Laura Beth.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
What do you want to leave our viewers with?
Don't take your family for granted. We don't always get this time together because whereas I do work from home, my husband is also self-employed, which is currently closed, but we go to work together and do that. So I don't get as much family time because I'm with him in the afternoon, working with him. And of course, I work at the studio 2 days a week with bridging. So I miss that time with my family, and right now I'm loving it. I get to see like all the things they're going through, and I'm not missing anything right now.
Yes, same thing. I feel the same way. All right, you got ladies. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
You be safe.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I want to say to teachers, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I took you for granted. I'm sorry if I ever complained. The thing is, I told my children that Mummy knows everything. I raised them believing that. And the truth is out. They know the truth. My children know the truth now. Mummy doesn't know everything. I don't know what an improper fraction is. I don't know. I don't know, right? And I don't know the difference between an improper fraction and a mixed number. I don't know.
Okay. You guys, that video went viral. So I reached out to the person who did the video because I just wanted to talk to her to hear firsthand what inspired her to do this video in the first place. So welcome today. We have a Daisy Chawako from the UK. She's a mom, and she, with all the rest of us, are experiencing some challenges at home with this homeschooling. Daisy, tell me, what made you do this video?
Well, I was on day 2 of homeschooling, and I mean, day 2, I'd only been on it for an hour, and I'd already reached a point where I was like, I actually don't know what language my children are speaking in right now. Like, they're coming to me and they're talking, but they could be speaking Japanese for all I know. And I literally went into the room and I recorded that video because I was like, teachers have to deal with this from my children every day. And I'm at day 2, and literally my head was like, it was hurting me.
And now
I don't know. I mean,
you don't know everything. So how does
my children are literally asking me questions, and I'm like, okay, YouTube, Google, you know?
Yes. Okay, so there's always been this pull between teachers and parents, and you apologized.
Yeah.
So tell me, why did you apologize?
Well, because I think it's easy. You know, I've never been a disrespectful person. I've never disrespected teachers or called them names. And I've never been one of those parents that will go to the school and complain to the teachers or anything like that. But, you know, it's easy to be on this side of the fence and be like, oh, well, you know, they should be doing this and teachers should be doing that. And why have they sent you home with this homework? And we never did it like that in our day. And just have our thing to say and moan about it. But, you know, after 2 days of homeschooling, I'm like, teachers deserve a reward. Teachers should be paid more. Teachers should be celebrated because it is not an easy job. I think you really have to be a special person with a special kind of heart to be a teacher because, you know, if I had a classroom of 20-something children, I think that I would end up locked up.
Let me just say, I think teachers all over the world right now accept your apology. And here's one teacher we have with us today, Leandria Smith. She is a teacher. Leandria, did you accept her apology?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for making the apology.
We are bridging the gap between teachers and parents right here.
Right.
So Leandria, you're a teacher. So how does that transition of being a teacher and a mom at home, how does that work?
That is a interesting question because I know what I expect from my students. I have, as a teacher, I tend to have more patience with my students at school. I see because I'm a music teacher, so I see a certain group of students, then I see another group of students. I have a moment, even though it's the school day, I have a moment away from these students to separate instructional time and when I see them, you know, say at the grocery store. That's a different time. There is time for Leandria in between. That's not happening at home.
It doesn't happen.
That's not happening. Even the restroom is not mine, which I knew as a mother anyway, but now it's elevated.
Right.
Do you know? It's elevated.
So I've heard from parents who are educators the difficulty of, you know, making that transition of I'm mom, but now I'm teacher. And in the classroom, you have your classroom expectations, you have your rules, and everything's laid out, and you're teaching one subject. So you might be an English teacher, but at home you have a 4-year-old, a 7-year-old, a senior.
Right.
How does that work? How is it working for you? Either one.
It is not working for me. My eldest son, I just say, get on with it. Whatever you don't understand, one day we will come back to it, but you just do what you're doing. And the other two, one is 11, the other one is 9. And I really do try, but, you know, it's so far between. Sometimes I get my older son to teach the younger ones because he has a better understanding than me, you know, so that's how it's been working.
So I know we're laughing and we're, you know, making ourselves feel better through laughter, but it is a serious thing because parents do have multiple children in multiple grades where teachers don't have that in the classroom. So some of the suggestions that I've heard from other teachers, and I want to pass this on, is that have a schedule. Have a schedule that you get up in the morning, you even halfway get dressed like you would for school. Like, don't stay in your jammies all day. Have a schedule, have a lunch break. And let me just tell you this, parents, you don't have to be the teacher. You don't have to be relaxed. Take a deep breath. Whatever's not working, good, sit all back. You don't have to try to be the teacher. I think the teachers just want you to partner with them in this time. You know, it's not spring break anymore. This happened like right after spring break for most schools. It's not spring break anymore. It's not a Christmas break. It's not a summer break. It is still a time for educating and for education to go forth, but don't think you have to do it all. Okay?
Right.
Do you have any suggestions, Leandria, for parents, for students as we move forward?
Well, I've had to be, the biggest thing for me is to be forgiving, to be lenient with myself and my expectations,
Mhm.
to say, okay, like the other day, we were in the kitchen and we were cooking. So there, to me, we might not have done the work that was set out for the day, but we learned a lot.
Right.
So just having these schedules are great. We have a schedule, but every day we might not follow it because
Right.
there is so much going on,
Right.
because there is some good days and there are some bad days. And I still, even with partnering with a teacher, even with being a teacher myself, I still have to be mommy. I still have to take into consideration why we're here. There's a
Yeah.
lot of whys. And the biggest thing that's really been helping my children and myself, because it's been rough for me too, you know, is journaling. We
Mhm.
actually have a journal because I was reading somewhere, and it was perfectly stated out that we are in, like everybody has said, this is the favorite, the catchphrase, unprecedented time.
Okay. So is there anything that you want to leave our viewers with? Any last words of encouragement?
Yeah, I want to say that, this whole thing has taught me to take the pressure off. I think when the schools closed, everyone went into like, right, I've got to be this amazing teacher and take the place of a teacher. And you know what? The teachers that have been communicating with me and contacting me since that video said, no, nobody expects you to do that. Just be the great mom that you're being. And so that really took the pressure off. And so I want to encourage other people to take that pressure off themselves as well. But also, even after all this is done, let's really get behind teachers. And if we were in that place where we didn't really appreciate them before, I would definitely encourage us to do so. Get behind, if there's issues with pay and what have you, just do what we can to get behind teachers, because we really do need them. They are pouring into our children and doing an amazing job. And so, let's continue to encourage and support our teachers.
Thank you for saying that. And I'm sure teachers all over the world are appreciative right now. Leandria?
As a teacher, love your students while you have them in your classrooms, because this was an abrupt disruption of the relationships we were building in classrooms. So we're sad. As a teacher, I'm sad. I don't see those faces. Whether it was, yay, I want to see this kid, or that one right there. I miss those relationships.
Thank you for joining us today here on Bridging. I had the pleasure of speaking to parents and teachers across the nation, across the globe. And one thing that sticks out is we are in this together. Thank you, and I will see you another time on Bridging.
The book Mental Kidnapping by Stephen Treadwell will help strengthen you spiritually with evidence from the Word of God. Everything we do begins with a thought. Think twice before you speak once, casting down imaginations and every high thing that is exalted against the knowledge of God. Let the real you shine through. Get encouraged, blessed, and motivated. Go to lulu.com or call 844-212-0689 to order your copy of Mental Kidnapping.
Mental Kidnapping by Stephen Treadwell takes you behind the bars of the human mind. Stephen Treadwell, a talented writer, a must-read for everybody. Get your copy today at lulu.com.